Kaplan was the first really large project that I did remotely. It consisted of 8 first-year university courses, both face-to-face in Singapore and delivered online throughout Southeast Asia. I did the face-to-face. I'm going to talk now about the process of flipping it over to online. So I had to rewrite the lessons. One of the biggest problems people make when they're migrating online with their content is they don't make many changes. The problem is there's a lot of content that an instructor gives face-to-face or instructions that they give face-to-face that somehow needs to be included in the online component. So a certain amount of the lessons had to be restructured and rewritten. I then did a series of draft storyboards. Kaplan had just bought out a large IT company in Florida, great people to work with, that had their own proprietary setup, who I was working with. And so we were constantly back and forth, but initially I sent them the draft. They would send me back what they are able to do, and then we talked back and forth a bit how much we can push the envelope. And then storyboarded each of the courses by lesson. What needed to happen was I also needed to do and turn that into 8 self-paced, can be done anywhere in the world modules based on basically the same assignments and the same textbook, so that the same credit would be given. Now obviously in face-to-face teacher-student situations, there is a lot of information the teacher can give that adds to the material, and so a certain amount of that I had to put into this in order for the students to get. So what I did is I worked with a third-party group out of Florida who we collectively designed the storyboard you're about to see here for week 1 of the BizCom course. I would do a draft, I would send it to them, they would give me their feedback. They would take my final draft, they would put it in. I would look at their portal. Sorry, I did not, or I probably did take videos of it at that time, but this is back in 2011, so I think it's on a hard drive that I can't get access to anymore. And so it would be back and forth, and then I would do the final version, they would sign off, I would view their final version, I would sign off, and then it would be published. It was quite a process, very intense, but great people to work with in Florida. Right, so the breakdown of the storyboard is the navigation board, functionality, and then the content. So this is the welcome screen, blah, 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 blah. This is what it would look like. Here's the overview of the course. So a lot of this is the same breakdown of what they would see in the student manual. This is sort of a digital student manual as such. So now we're getting into topic 1. What is business communication, top 5 secrets. Here's some YouTube. So I use a fair amount of videos in YouTube to replace what the teacher would have been doing in the classroom. Okay, here's the same textbook that we're using, and they would have the same reading and they would have the same assignments. So I had to make sure that apart from the reading, they would be given enough information as what a teacher would be doing in class. Mind you, these videos would also be available for the teacher to use in class, so a certain amount of that was also transferable as such. And then here's the stuff in the book they would have to do and go through, and then these are my notes to them, topic 3. And so it was this very specific breakdown of how to get the information. This was very much self-paced. There wasn't a lot of lecture notes as such. It was a lot of YouTube, and mind you, pieces that couldn't be pulled like here, so there's a little bit more of information being put in that either pulled from the book because I wanted it specifically to be dealt with, because it probably had to do with either concept checked for that lesson or an assignment down the road. And so here's some exercises that they had to do that would be then sent into whatever the structure was that they were doing. So this is me just doing content, nothing to do with delivery as such, nothing to do with administering the course. just specific content. There were 8 modules, and this is week 1 of 11, so 11 times 8. It ended up being hundreds and hundreds of storyboards that were done for this particular group as we were going back and forth and back and forth. Florida gave me their input from the storyboards we did, and so this was our sort of feedback loop back and forth. Once I was set about pretty much how it needed to go and how it would flow, it went to them, and then I would sign off.